great sign. First of all, it's a sign. It's signs and portents, and it's not designed for the average person.
Yeah.
Well, it was because in the first verse, the first chapter, it says, these things are written. These things are going to soon take place.
Yep.
Heed the things which are written in it, for the time is near.
Yeah.
So he wrote this letter to these 7 churches, and these 7 churches were to take heed to the things that were written in it.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to have, to heed the warning.
And who was actually giving this information? Who actually dictated it?
This is the revelation of Jesus Christ.
Okay. That's the key.
Which God gave him to show his bondservants the things which must soon take place.
Right.
The time is near. So these things that are written here were soon, at that time, the first century, were going to soon take place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jesus wrote this. I'm sorry. Jesus gave this information to the author of the book of Revelation, who was
John.
Whom?
The
John.
Apostle John.
Exactly. And so John wrote it around 96 or 97.
I would say it was before the fall of Jerusalem, because it's about the fall of Jerusalem.
It was after the fall of Jerusalem.
Huh?
It was after the fall of Jerusalem.
I don't know about that.
Okay, trust me on that one, John. Trust me on that one, Eric.
It's basically what they're saying. It's basically Matthew 24.
Well,
it's John's version of Matthew 24.
Okay, in the different translations of the Bible you have, do any of them have when that particular book of the Bible was written?
It has the temple still standing because they measure the temple. He's told to measure the temple. So whenever the temple...
The key you needed to find out is when physically was the book of Revelation written.
Right, and the temple was still standing because he was told to measure the temple.
Well, let's hold that part in abeyance. When physically, though, was the book of Revelation written?
I'd say before the temple fell.
All right. I'll try another way. any other apostles left alive when John wrote this?
I'm not exactly sure when they died.
Okay.
I mean, what's the evidence you have for it being written in '96?
The Book of Revelation, and we always use third parties. The Book of Revelation was written in '96, shortly before John died.
And there's.
So was the temple still standing in '96, or was it destroyed in '70?
Well, there's the beast with 7 heads, and the one that was at the time this was written is Neron Kaiser, and that was.
Well, he may depict it, but what
Kaiser
is
Man. Well, there's people that believe it was written in '96, and there's people that believe it was written in.
So what we need to do then is to see which one is the more accurate definition of time.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to talk about Kaiser Neron. 666. Unless there is someone that you can calculate his number and it comes out 666 that these people would know about.
Yeah.
And he's still ruling at that time. And there's a temple to measure at that time.
Yes, but is this a literal temple or is it a figurative temple? Getting more intriguing, isn't it?
I would have to look. I'd have to look that up.
Okay.
In the. Bring out my trusty concordance. Temple.
Yeah. So.
Well, we know when the temple was destroyed.
Yes.
And we know.
Yeah, when the Roman army came in and they destroyed everything. Yes, they did.
Temple.
And which made it also interesting because they destroyed all the records of births and deaths. And so at that point in time, they couldn't tell the lineage of anybody. There was no record of the lineage of anybody, their births, their deaths. So, which made it impossible for them to say, well, I'm a son of, or etc. But when we got off the topic is in the book of Revelation, in chapter 12, there is a point that's brought out. It says,
well, here. Can I go back to the temple thing? To
sure.
Just.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
the
You're right.
chapter 11. Before that, John eats the little book. Then the voice which I heard from heaven, I heard again speaking with me and saying, Go, take the book which is open in the hand of the angel who stands on the sea and on the land. So I went to the angel, telling him to give me the little book, and he said to me, Take it and eat it. It will make your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it will be sweet as honey. I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and I ate it. And in my mouth it was sweet as honey, and when I had eaten it, my stomach was made bitter. And they said
All right.
to
What
me,
verse was that?
this is in 10, this is in 10, but it's coming in,
Okay, 11 verse 10, all right.
No, this is 10 verse 11. And they said to me, You must prophesy again concerning many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. And now it's in 11. Then there was given me a measuring rod, like a staff, And someone said, "Get up and measure the temple of God and the altar and those who worship in it. Leave out the court which is outside the temple and do not measure it, for it has been given to the nations, and they will tread underfoot the holy city for 42 months."
So now are you in chapter 11 now?
Yep. So there's a temple still standing, and it's been given to the Gentiles, and it's 42 months, which was how long the sea, how long it took for them to destroy the temple, or destroy the Jerusalem. It was 42 months, right? 40, what is that, 3.5 years?
Yeah. 42 months would be 3.5 years. So there's a lot of prophecy in all of this. And
yeah, it was future to John at the time.
Yes. So it was a vision given to John, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And when you looked at chapter 1 and the first couple verses, that Jesus gave it to him, and it was signs and portents. Is that what it said? I can go back and look myself.
What's this now?
Pardon me a second. In the first chapter of Revelation, it says, of Revelation,
okay,
by Jesus Christ,
yeah,
which God gave him
right,
to show his slaves the things that must shortly take place.
yep,
And he sent his angel and presented it in signs through him, that is, through John, to his slave. Okay, so he sent it through his slave to John. But the key is it says in signs. It doesn't say that these are things. That's the key word there, signs. Now,
well, it kind of had to, like, all right, the revelation which he gave, things communicated by us, testify to the words of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw. Blessed is he. All right, what? The things which must soon take place, and he sent and communicated it by his angel.
mm-hmm.
Communicated it by his angel to his bondservant John, who testified to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw. Blessed is he who reads, and those who hear the words of the prophecy, and heed the things which are written in it, for the time is near. So, the word communicate here in verse 1 of Revelation chapter 1. The word is Semenen. Signify, indicate, report. And you do a word search, and right here, but heat, the word, which is semeno, which means make known, communicate. So here the word is used in John 12:33. But he was saying this to indicate the kind of death by which he was to die. Indicate, communicate, the events, the things which must soon take place, and he sent and communicated or signified to fulfill the word of Jesus which he spoke, signifying by what kind of death he was about to die. Signifying. Okay. signified the death. Or he communicated it. Or signified. And this he said, signifying by what death, now this is 21:19, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, follow me. And in Acts 11:28, one of them, named Agabus, stood up and began to indicate by the Spirit that there would certainly be a great famine all over the world. Indicate. Communicated. Began to communicate by the Spirit that there would be a great famine all over the world. And this took place in the reign of Claudius. Acts 25:27, same word translated as communicate in the NASB. For it seemed absurd to me in sending a prisoner not to indicate also the charges against him. Now, could the average person understand if something was indicated, the charges against him? Sending a prisoner, it would seem absurd to send a prisoner not to indicate or signify or communicate also the charges against him. That wouldn't make sense, would it? I bet you they understood what the charges were, that they were not above average people, I imagine, but they were, and the average person could understand the charges that were indicated or communicated, or that were signifying the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his bondservants, the things which must soon take place. What is a bondservant? Doulos, slave, bondservant, servants, the things which must soon take place, and he sent and communicated it by his angel to his bondservant, doulos, slave. Alright. So there it is. Communicated.
Yeah. So the book of Revelation is things that would shortly take place, but the time frame is critical, because how long was that shortly take place? I mean, how long of a time frame is that shortly take place? Is it a few years, a few hundred years, or is it almost 2,000 years?
Well, the destruction of Jerusalem was a couple of years later.
Yeah. So it actually applies to, in the Catholic Church calls it the Apocalypse, the Book of Apocalypse, a Book of Apocalypse, because it's the destruction of everything. But
No,
actually,
apocalypse,
it's good news.
Apocalypsis, that's a Greek word for
The end.
revelation, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
For revealing.
Thank you.
Apocalypsis.
I've learned something. No, seriously, I've learned something from you, Eric. I didn't realize what that was. I was thinking one thing, and you explained the reality of it was there. So, the point is that when we got to chapter 21, that still applies to the future. So, this is a lengthy period of time that's being covered by the book of Revelation. That's what